Jai Hind. Today we are going to engage with a topic that is both historically profound and strikingly relevant in the present context, Gandhian approaches and their relevance today. When we think of Mahatma Gandhi, as we often associated him with India's freedom struggle, but his ideas go far beyond a single movement or time period. They represent a comprehensive philosophy of life and governance rooted in ethics, human dignity, and peaceful coexistence. In an era marked by geopolitical tensions, internal conflicts, environmental crises, and social inequalities, revisiting Gandhian thoughts allow us to reflect on alternative approaches that prioritize morality alongside practicality. Through this presentation, we will not only understand that key principle of Gandhian philosophy but also critically examine how these ideas can be applied in today's complex and rapidly changing world. So, to begin with, Gandhian thought is best understood as a unique integration of ethics, politics, and social transformation, where moral values are not seen as optional but as essential to the functioning of society. Gandhi firmly believed that politics devoid of ethics becomes a tool of exploitation, and therefore any meaningful political or social change must be grounded in truth and non-violence. His philosophy challenges the conventional separation between personal morality and public life by insisting that individuals and institutions alike must adhere to same ethical standard. At its core, Gandhian thought revolves around the principle of non-violence, truth, and moral responsibility, which together aim to transform not just system of governance but also the consciousness of individual. This transformative aspect of what gives Gandhian is what gives Gandhian philosophy its enduring relevance across different contexts and time periods. So, building upon the ethical foundation, Gandhian philosophy is structured around five interrelated core principles, namely Satya, Ahimsa, Satyagraha, Sarvodaya, and trusteeship. Each of these principles represent a different dimension of Gandhi's vision for society, yet they are deeply interconnected and mutually reinforcing. Satya or truth serves as the guiding force, while ahimsa or non-violence becomes the method through which truth is pursued. Satyagraha operationalizes these ideas into a form of resistance. Sarvodaya expands the vision to encompass the welfare of all, and trusteeships provides an economic framework that seeks to balance individual wealth with social responsibility. Together, these principles form a holistic approach that addresses ethical conduct, political actions, socially social justice, and economic equity. As we explore each of these in detail, we will see how they collectively contribute to a coherent and practical philosophy. So, let us begin with ahimsa or non-violence, which is perhaps the most widely recognized aspect of Gandhian philosophy, yet often the most misunderstood. Gandhi did not advocate non-violence as passive acceptance of injustice or as a sign of weakness. Rather, he saw it as a powerful and active force capable of challenging even the most entrenched system of oppression. Ahimsa require, requires immense courage, discipline, and moral conviction, as it involves resisting injustice without resorting to hatred, anger, or retaliation. The ultimate objective of non-violence is not to defeat the opponent, but to transform their perspective by appealing to their sense of justice and humanity. This approach recognizes that violence often led to a cycle of revenge and further conflict further conflict, whereas non-violence creates the responsibility for reconciliation and lasting peace. In contemporary context, where conflict often escalate rapidly, the, the principle of ahimsa offer a framework for de-escalation and constructive engagement. So, closely intertwined with non-violence is the principle of satya or truth, which Gandhi regarded as the ultimate reality and the highest moral law. For Gandhi, Truth was not merely about factual accuracy or honesty in communication, it was a deeper commitment to integrity in thought, word, and action. He believed that individuals must constantly strive to align their actions with their understanding of truth, even if it is requires personal sacrifice. In the realm of politics and governance, Satya translates into transparency, accountability, and ethical decisions. Making all of this are essential of building trust between the state and citizens. In today's world, where misinformation, propaganda, and corruption can undermine democratic institutions, the principle of truth becomes even more critical. By emphasizing Satya, Gandhi reminds us that sustainable progress can only be achieved when it is built on a foundation of honesty and moral clarity. Emerging from the principle of Satya and Ahimsa is the concept of Satyagraha, which can be understood as the force derived from truth and non-violence. Satyagraha is not simply a tactic but a philosophy of resistance that seeks to confront injustice through moral strength rather than physical force. It involves methods such as civil disobedience, non-cooperation, and peaceful protest, all of which are aimed at exposing injustice and compelling change by appealing to the conscience of the oppressor. What distinguishes Satyagraha from other forms of resistance is its emphasis on self-suffering and moral discipline. As practitioners are expected to endure hardship without resorting to violence. This not only highlights the injustice of the situation but also strengthens the moral legitimacy of the movement. Historically, Satyagraha played a crucial role in India's struggle for independence, and its influence can be seen in numerous movements for civil rights and social justice across the world. Moving beyond individual and political action, the principle of Sarvodaya represents Gandhi's vision for an ideal society based on the welfare of all. Sarvodaya emphasizes that true progress cannot be measured solely by economic growth or material prosperity, but must be evaluated in terms of how it impacts the most vulnerable and marginalized section of the society. This principle calls for an inclusive approach to development where resources and opportunities are distributed in a manner that ensures dignity and well-being for every individual. It also reflects a commitment to social justice, equality, and the elimination of exploitation in all forms. In contemporary discourse, Sarvodaya aligns closely with concepts such as inclusive development, social equity, and sustainable growth, making it highly relevant for policymakers and leaders seeking to create balanced and just societies. So, next is trusteeship. Closely related to the Sarvodaya is the concept of trusteeship, which addresses the ethical dimension of wealth and economic inequality. Gandhi recognized that disparities in wealth could lead to social tension and conflict, but he opposed violent or coercive method of redistribution. Instead, he proposed that individual who possess possesses wealth should act as trustees, holding their resources in trust for the benefit. This concept encourages voluntary sharing, ethical business practices, and a sense of social responsibility among the affluent trusteeship. Among the affluent, trusteeships seeks to strike a balance between individual enterprise and collective welfare, thereby promoting harmony rather than conflict. In the modern context, this idea is reflected in practices such as corporate social responsibility, philanthropy, and sustainable business models, which aims to align economic success with social goods. So, when applied to conflict situations, Gandhian principles offer a distinctive approach that prioritize dialogue, understanding, and moral persuasion over coercion and violence. Gandhi believed that conflicts are often rooted in misunderstandings, inequalities, and unmet needs, and therefore resolving them requires addressing these underlying causes rather than merely suppressing symptoms. His approach emphasizes negotiation, empathy, and the willingness to find common ground with the goal of achieving solutions that are acceptable to all parties involved. By focusing on long-term peace building rather than short-term victories, the Gandhian approach seeks to create conditions for lasting harmony and cooperations. This perspective is particularly valuable in today's world, where conflicts are often complex and multifaceted. So, what is the relevance of Gandhian ideas in international relations? Extending these ideas to the global stage, Gandhian philosophy has significant implication for international relations, particularly in the areas of diplomacy and conflict management. Concepts such as soft power, non-alignment and peaceful coexistence reflect the influence of Gandhian thinking in shaping foreign policy, especially in the case of India. Rather than relying solely on military strength and strategic alliances, this approach emphasizes dialogue, mutual respect and cooperation as the basis for international engagement. In an increasingly interconnected world where global challenges such as climate changes and economic instability requires collective action, the principles of non-violence and ethical conduct offer a valuable framework for fostering collaboration and reducing tensions among nations. So, in the context of internal security and its relevance to internal security, Gandhian approaches provide an alternative to force-centric strategies by focusing on inclusion, justice and the resolution of grievances. Issues such as insurgency, extremism and social unrest are often driven by underlying factors such as inequality, marginalization and lack of opportunity. Addressing these root causes through dialogue development and participatory governance can lead to more sustainable and effective solutions by emphasizing non-violent engagement and trust building. Gandhian methods help help in creating a sense of belonging and reducing the appeal of violent movement. This approach highlights the importance of balancing security measure with social and economic interventions. So, on a broader level, Gandhian philosophy offers valuable insight into addressing some of the most pressing global challenges of our time, including climate change, human rights and social justice. Gandhi's emphasis on simplicity and sustainable living resonates strongly with the contemporary efforts to promote environmental conservation and reduce consumption. Similarly, his commitment to non-violence continues to inspire movement advocating for equality, dignity and justice across by the world. By encouraging individuals and societies to adopt more ethical and sustainable ways of living, Gandhian thought provides pathways toward addressing global issues in a holistic and responsible manner. So, despite its many strengths, Gandhian philosophy is is not without its critics, who argues that it can be overly idealistic and difficult in implementation, difficult to implement in situations involving extreme violence or urgent threats. Some critics contend that non-violent methods may not be effective against actors who are unwilling to engage in dialogue or who rely on force to achieve their objectives. Additionally, the time intensive nature of nonviolent resistance can be seen as a limitation in fast moving crises. These criticism underscores the need to adopt the contextualized Gandhian principles rather than applying them rigidly, ensuring that they remain relevant and effective in diverse situations. So, nevertheless, Gandhian principles continue to find expression in contemporary context, as seen in various civil rights movements, non-violent protest and diplomatic efforts aimed at resolving conflict peacefully. These examples demonstrate that the core ideas of truth, non-violence and moral courage are not only enduring but also adaptable to different cultural and political environments. By drawing on Gandhian methods, individuals and organizations around the world continue to challenge injustice and promote positive change without resorting to violence. So, in conclusion, Gandhian approaches remain highly relevant in today's world as they offer a comprehensive framework for addressing ethical, political, and social challenges, while modern realities may require a balance between idealism and pragmatism. The fundamental principle of truth, non-violence, inclusivity, and social responsibility continue to provide valuable guidance. By integrating these principles into contemporary practices, it is possible to work toward a more just, peaceful, and sustainable future. Ultimately, Gandhian philosophy reminds us that lasting change begins not only with institutions but with the values and actions of individuals. I leave you with this thought and I end this lecture here. Thank you.